Good morning, everybody. We are here in Piqua, Ohio. At least that's what the water tower out here says. It's the only way I know where we are. And we did our overnight at Walmart National Park, and we are going to head over today, and we're going to do a tour of Airstream, which is interesting because I'm not a big fan. Lori loves Airstream.
I love the look. I love like the smooth lines and the history behind it. I love it, but I don't know, not for everybody.
Yin and yang. It's the way it works sometimes. But we're gonna head over there now. It's Jackson Center, Ohio. First off, we've got to swing back by Home Depot. Lori's actually doing some renovations in the bathroom, so that we can finally give you guys the RV tour that everyone's been waiting. They're waiting for you.
Oh, if you're waiting for me, it's gonna take forever. He's like,
she's never gonna have it the way she wants. So, you ready to head over there?
Yes.
All right.
He's always blaming me. He's like,
okay, you can kill that. Our original plan, or whatever you want to call it, it's not really a plan. We don't have those very much. Our original idea was to go from Indianapolis down into Nashville area, actually Louisville, to look at the Bourbon Trail, and then down into Nashville. But when we got into Indianapolis, we realized we were super close to the Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio, which everyone had been telling us about. And then now that we got close to Dayton, Ohio, we found out that the Airstreams were here and the Airstream factory, and we might as well go do an Airstream tour while we're here.
because why not? We're here. Let's do it.
And our ADD's kicking in. We're going everywhere, so who knows where we're going to wind up from here. But for now, we know we're going to do Airstream, we're going to do the Air Force Museum, and some stuff in Cincinnati. Oh yeah, and her fault, because we have to go to Cincinnati to return some hiking boots to LL Bean. All right, we were about to head into the Airstream place, the Airstream factory. We're parked out here in the parking lot. I doubt we're going to be able to film in here, but we'll see. We were in the lobby earlier, and that's pretty cool. So we'll shoot a little bit of that, but ready to roll?
Yeah, usually you cannot film on factory tours, so
They need to hide all of their secrets. We didn't see any at Fleetwood, so let's see what Airstream has to show us. As we expected, we were able to shoot video in here, but nothing on the tour itself, so you guys are gonna have to stay here.
see you later.
"15 exciting models."
Company went bankrupt in 1935, then had aluminum work under his jurisdiction.
We just left the Airstream tour, and we're gonna head out to the RV and talk about that for a second, because it's cold out here.
It's very cool. Like,
And the weather has changed.
Within a day, right?
Within a couple of days, yeah, we went from biking in t-shirts to wearing jackets and being chilly. We are done with the Airstream tour, and we're gonna roll out down to Dayton. So as we go down there, we need to talk about the tour.
We really enjoyed the tour.
It was cool.
We really did.
I will say that I have a little bit more appreciation for Airstream now. The build quality of the coach was awesome, and they treated you really very, very good from the minute you walked in the front door.
Before we go too far, let's see on the right. If you guys can see, there is a campground. It's for the people that get service, and they can stay here for free if you get service. But you as well, even if you don't have an Airstream, you can always come and stay here for $10 a night. So I thought that was kind of cool.
The lines were pretty cool, the production lines. were very cool, and I thought the factory seemed to be really well run. Yeah, I just liked it a lot. Now, I did ask the guy the question about hail, and he said, if there is a bad hailstorm, you're screwed. It's plain and simple. They did not try to avoid the question at all, which I thought was really pretty cool. The build quality of the coaches are very, very good. And the new stuff that we saw, they have a thing coming out called the Atlas, which is another Class B, BC coach. It's like their Interstate, and it is basically like the Airstream Interstate. It's the Mercedes chassis thing, and it's got a slide out on it, so that was really cool. And they've got another new small towable, and I can't remember what that was called, but that was kind of cool too. It's all fiberglass trailer, so that was really cool. I think you're confusing that with Atlas. But overall, Airstream was awesome. I will say like I said, the people just treated you better from the minute you walked in the door. Better than we were treated at Fleetwood. Sorry, Fleetwood, it's the truth. But overall, just really, really cool. And now we're gonna head down the road to Dayton, Ohio, which, if you've been following for any length of time now, you'll know that we're big Wright Brothers fans, and it is the home of the Wright Brothers, or close to their birthplace. I know Orville was born just outside. I don't know where Wilbur was born. No, Wilbur was born just down the road here. I don't know about Orville, but Dayton is where they're famous for building their bicycles and building their aircraft. One of the bicycle shops is still there. There's a museum there, so we're going to check that out. And we're also going to go to the Air Force Museum, which everybody was telling us that we needed to see. So down the road we go.
All right, woke up just outside of Dayton this morning, and we're at one of our favorite breakfast spots, the Cracker Barrel. We're gonna go in here and get our day started.
We stay overnight here. It was an okay night for me. Paul just slept.
I slept like a rock.
Yeah.
Breakfast was delicious at Cracker Barrel, and now we're ready to go do some tourist stuff. And we're gonna start off with more Wright Brothers. And I think this is going to be the last of the Wright Brothers. We've done all of it.
We said it last time, and somehow we find Wright Brothers stuff.
Yeah, we find more Wright Brothers stuff, so we'll see.
Dayton, Ohio, so it was expected here.
Yeah. Just want to show you this here quick at Cracker Barrel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 really tight spots, so I would say probably 4 is good. But plenty of length to be able to park a longer rig, and good for the night. And breakfast is handy in the morning.
We said the regional.
You might hear the sirens in the background there. They lost power in the building, and I guess they've lost power in the entire neighborhood. And they're trying to figure out what's going on, but they had to kick us out of the Wright Brothers Interpretive Center because there's no power, and they're running on generators. So we're gonna head over to the bicycle shop and check it out.
We're somewhat done anyway.
That was really cool. And we thought we were done with Wright Brother stuff, but I guess there is still more to be seen out at the Wright Air Force Museum. We're gonna see that. And we're probably gonna try and stop out at what was Hoffman Field, which is where they, if we have time.
Because he keeps promising and then doesn't happen.
And Hoffman Field is where they actually did a lot of their powered flights after their testing out at Kitty Hawk, or as we now know, it's Kill Devil Hills, but Hoffman Field here is where they really perfected the flight stuff. So really exciting, really cool.
Yeah, this stop is not like a long stop. It's more of a, I would say, an hour stop.
Yeah.
An hour and a half the most.
Yeah, you can do this in an hour. The movie itself was 33 minutes, or in our case, about 28 minutes, until they killed the power. Many of you had suggested that we come here to the Wright-Patterson Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio. I think you're right. The place looks pretty incredible, first impressions.
We're inside of a hangar, like a massive hangar.
Okay, I am like a kid in a candy store. A very insane, ridiculously expensive candy store, but like a kid in a candy store. This is pretty awesome.
We didn't pay a dime, by the way.
Well, no.
Every year.
I'm not saying expensive as in the admission. The admission was free. I'm just saying it's expensive as in the toys, as in the candy. Okay, enter here and watch your head. Okay, this is pretty cool here. Your co-pilot and pilot. Your engine controls. This is cool. Crew tunnel there, so you can crawl through there. Obviously your radio guy was in here. Another position over here. So the crew went through this tunnel, and then this is obviously where ordnance and stuff is. Very cool. Pretty cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see this, but when you think about what they used to do, what was created for,
This is pretty freaky.
it's just freaking.
This piece here is really cool. I've never seen this before. It is a lifeboat that they would attach to the bottom of a B-29 bomber, and then they would drop it to rescue people from the water. Very cool. The modified B-29s looked like this, so that's kind of cool. You can see the lifeboat on the bottom of the B-29. They would just drop them, and then they would come down on a parachute, land in the water. How cool is that? All right, we keep walking and walking, and it keeps showing new building 4, and we get into a building and we think that's new building 4, and then we got into this building and we thought this was new building 4, but
The sign's still going.
new building 4 is this way. We're gonna keep walking.
It's a lot of buildings. Bring your walking shoes for sure.
That's awesome. It's like a Pandora's box. Just keeps opening and opening. Oh, this looks good over here. This is incredible. Now this is not an actual space shuttle. It's a crew compartment trainer, but we're gonna take a walk through there because that's gonna be cool. And then we're gonna go down there because that's gonna be cool. And then we're gonna go over here because that's gonna be cool. And I think over here, this stuff is gonna be cool too.
So now the big question is, what is not cool?
Everything's cool. So this building that we're in, that we finally found out is building 4, is all about research and development planes. So all of the stuff that they use to test flights, test certain systems, test wing design, anything that they needed to test, that's what's in this building. And there is some really cool aircraft. This little one over here, the Goblin, it was originally put in a B-29 bomber so that it could go on the runs with the bomber. They'd drop it out, it could fight, and then come back up inside the bomber. There's just all kinds of craziness. This thing up here, this thing has 6 huge engines, as you saw in the back there. Space shuttle stuff. They have original flying body planes. It's just crazy, the stuff that's in this building. Very, very impressive, and would take you probably a half a day just to go through this building itself. Look at this thing. I'm an aircraft fan, but there's stuff in here I've never seen before, so this is really cool. The one thing that I'm really excited to see is coming up here in front of us, and that's going to be something that we'll talk about here in just a second. Okay, this was an aircraft I used to see as a kid, and I used to think how cool it would be because it was kind of the first flying saucer. This is the Avro car, and the Avro car was built in the 1950s. It was supposed to hold 2 people, and it was going to be a vertical takeoff and landing vehicle, and it was kind of a failure. I think the only speed they got to is, I think they said 35 miles an hour, so not quite fast enough for the Air Force, but it is really cool. And if these things were flying around, then we would have seen spaceships, but they're not. But that is pretty cool. You're a little bit of a plane geek. What do you think?
Oh, this is beautiful. I mean, you get them all from war aircrafts to presidential to testing to all of them.
All right, this is the aircraft that we're about to go in now. Is the first presidential plane. It's the first Air Force One. It was designated SAM 26000, and it flew 8 sitting presidents, which is really cool, including this guy here. You might recognize him. Really cool, and we get to go inside.
And it was in operation for 36 years.
Learn something new every day. A crazy fact about this plane is that this was the plane that Kennedy was using when he was assassinated in Dallas. They actually swore in President Johnson right here, like in this area right here. That is pretty crazy.
That is crazy.
Really, really cool history.
It's like, by the way, about all these airplane tours, the presidential section, they put this here. So this is how narrow the hole you have to walk inside the plane. So basically you need to be comfortable going through here. If you're not comfortable, you're claustrophobic, probably not a good thing for you. We already saw a lady that she couldn't do it. She was claustrophobic.
We are leaving the Air Force Aviation Museum, heading back out to the coach. We'll talk about it here in just a second. It's a little windy, so I don't want to get that all messed up.
My legs are killing me. My feet are killing me. It is a lot to take in. It is 4 enormous hangars that are spaced, I don't know, from front to the back, it's probably a half a mile to 3/4 of a mile. Plus you're inside each of the hangars back and forth. It is a ton of walking. So if you're gonna do it, I highly recommend a very comfortable pair of shoes. And I had comfortable shoes on, but holy smokes, a lot of walking.
And if you're limited in your ability to walk, they also have wheelchairs that I saw.
And scooters.
So yeah, you can just take your time and just do it at your own pace.
Yeah, I should have got a scooter. No, I shouldn't.
Yeah, we walk a lot.
But it is very, very wheelchair accessible, except for the presidential aircraft section. You're not going to be able to go in there in a wheelchair, and you're not going to be able to go in there if you're claustrophobic. But anyways, with that being said, let's give them a rating and talk a little bit about the museum, because for me, if you're into aircraft, which I love aircraft, Lori loves aircraft, but I don't know if she loves them as much as I do, but for me, this place is a bucket list if you're into aircraft. You got to see it. We had people from the minute we went into the Pensacola one in Pensacola, Florida, the Naval Aviation Museum. People were telling us, oh, you got to do this if you're in the area. And we weren't going to. We were going to scoot by, but I'm glad we did. I am so glad we came. It was amazing. But I would say at the very least, would you say at the very least, a day trip?
See, he's making decisions for me, just like that.
What are your thoughts, Lori?
My thoughts. My thoughts is like, I love aircraft, like he said. I love it. So for me, it was cool to see all kinds, like all sorts, from the early beginnings of the replicas of the Wright Brothers, what they used to do, to all the new stuff, all the latest stuff. So it's very cool to see all that. A lot of history too, all throughout the wars. It takes a long time to go through all of this, and for me, this will be a day trip. If you're close enough to do this, do it as a day trip. Come and drive 2 hours, probably tops 2 hours, and come and check it out. But probably this is a 2-day museum. It's just so big. Like if you're really go through everything and read everything, it's a 2-3-day museum.
We did 4.5 hours, and we wound up near the end, started to kind of blow through it because it's all blending together, and it's the world wars and okay, the GoPro died, so we're gonna continue over here. Switch. But there's just so much to see that it all started to just blend together, and it was tough to take it all in one full day. I think to split up into 2 days or maybe even 3 days, where you do one or a building and a half at a time. We didn't even touch the Aviation Hall of Fame. We didn't even touch that at all. So you could easily do a couple of days in here at least. So that's something that I would think about doing.
And it's free of charge. Well, like everybody said, your taxes pay for it. But
taxes pay for it.
You don't have to pay any entry to go and see this.
Yep.
Also, they don't allow food, drinks, knives, guns, or anything like that. But there's inside restaurants.
Box cutters. Leave your box cutters at home.
Yeah. It says that there. But they have 2 restaurants inside where you can go and grab some lunch. It was not very expensive.
No.
I had a veggie wrap. He had a tiny little thing like pizza.
Piece of pizza. We had drinks, some chips.
And it was like
$13,
$14, yeah. So it was very, very affordable.
Very reasonable.
Just
but that's another thing too. If you split up into a couple days, maybe you could break for lunch and do it in your coach or whatever. But
that's true.
Spectacular museum. And with that being said, we're gonna roll down the road towards Cincinnati. We're gonna make one quick stop on the way out. The Huffman Field is where the Wright brothers did the majority of their flights. They came out here to Huffman Field and did all their stuff. So we're gonna pop out there right now. So ready to roll?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm waiting for you. 1-lane road, pass with caution.
All right, well, we're about to go into an area that is the point of no return here.
Yeah, this would be a long back out.
Yeah, hopefully there's an out here, because backing up is not a great option. I could do a pretty severe 3-point turn if I had to, and we'd have to unhook the car, but we are on the other side of the gun club and closer to the airfield, so I'm going to do a little reconnaissance mission. Lori's going to stay in the coach. Taking the 9-bot. It's always good when you need to go for a quick ride. So here it is. This was their starting device, their catapult assist, and it's right here. Holy smokes, this is craziness. So you can see this is the track that they used. The catapult comes down to here, and they would hook onto the wire right here, and they would pull the aircraft all the way back, lift that up, and then when they would release that, that would drop, throw the aircraft along this and out into the airfield. Unbelievable. Okay, that is pretty incredible there. And obviously that's probably, you know, that's not the first one. I'm sure it's a recreation of it, but this is the area that they flew in. And here's the shed. That gunfire is really unnerving. Luckily it's shotgun, so I know they couldn't hit me if they tried. 1905 hangar. Again, I'm sure, you know, obviously all of this stuff is rebuilt, but still pretty cool to know that this is where it happened. The sign there saying, imagine if you had invented an airplane and you had no one to teach how to fly it. That's very, very incredible. And there's the coach all the way over there. Now that I'm seeing the road here, I think I could have driven it over here, but we didn't know that, and we didn't know if we could turn around, so I have to go get Lori and just bring her over here so she can see this. This is pretty incredible. And hopefully you guys will be able to pause that and read it. I am like a little school kid right now. And this is actually Wright-Patterson Air Force Base right here. All right, it was an amazing day at the Air Force Museum in Dayton, and we're just down the road now in Cincinnati. We're at one of our favorite overnight, or what's turning into one of our favorite overnight spots.
Turn into that.
It's Cabela's. They've got great parking for the RVs and nice big wide spots, and
easy in, easy out from the highway.
Yeah,
usually,
easy access. So really turning into one of our favorite overnight spots. But this is where we're gonna call this one. So if this is your first time here, it'd be awesome if you subscribe to the channel, stay up to date on all of our adventures, and it would be equally as cool if you like the video. We'll see you again next time. Bye now.
Bye guys. And yeah, it's freezing in here. There's freeze warning for tonight, so.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little chilly tonight, but let's head inside. There's some things we have to see if we can find for the coach. So
time to keep heading south.
We are leaving the Air Force Naviation Museum. Naviation? Holy smokes, Navy and aviation. Okay, Lori is gonna hang out here at the coach. We're on the other side of the gun club, and I'm gonna do a little reconnaissance, It'd be awesome if you subscribe to the channel, stay up to date on all of our adventures, and it'd be equally as cool if you subscribe to the channel. No.
Okay, I got it.